there's something unusual in the air over Tyneside. It's not the typical preseason hush, nor the usual stillness of a transfer window waiting game. It's a different kind of tension, quiet but loaded with meaning. Behind the scenes at Newcastle United, discreet conversations are starting to gather momentum, and the more attentive fans are already sensing that something big might be on the verge of happening. And this isn't just any signing. What's being put together in the corridors of St. James Park feels more like a game of chess involving key pieces, high stakes, and decisions that could directly impact the club's attacking future. The signs are everywhere, even if they're subtle. Careful statements, silent investigations in strategic markets, and the sort of movement that only those who closely follow the club would recognize. And that's exactly what's catching everyone's attention. Newcastle seem to be preparing for a scenario in which one of their most crucial players might no longer be part of the plan. And with that possibility looming, the board has already started to move the target. A surprising name, not one many expected to be linked with the club, but one that makes perfect sense within the puzzle they're building. If you follow our channel, you already know, when Newcastle start operating quietly, it's usually because something major is being prepared. And that's why I invite you to become part of our community. Subscribe to the channel, it's free, takes less than 5 seconds, and ensures you stay updated with exclusive insights. Always responsibly sourced and straight from the most reliable insiders. Right now, when every detail matters, staying informed is more important than ever. And speaking of reliable sources, the man who shed light on what's going on behind the scenes is none other than Craig Hope of the Mail, one of the most trusted journalists when it comes to Newcastle United. He confirmed a report that NUFC blog had already broken back in early June. Rodrigo Muniz, the Brazilian striker from Fulham, is back on Newcastle's radar. According to Hope, the club has made an inquiry about the 24-year-old player, although no high-level talks have taken place just yet. The potential transfer fee, around £40 million. And here's the central point of it all. This interest in Muniz, which might seem minor at first, is directly connected to a growing fear behind the scenes at St. James Park. According to Craig Hope, Newcastle are increasingly concerned they might lose the race for Benjamin Sesko of RB Leipzig. The Slovenian forward, who has long been the club's plan A to replace Alexander Isak should he leave, is now likely to join Manchester United. Sources in Tyneside believe his move to Old Trafford is becoming more and more probable, a serious blow to the club's plans. With that possibility in mind, Newcastle have started reassessing their options, and Muniz has emerged as a concrete alternative, not just for his physical and technical attributes, but also because of the strategic profile that aligns well with the club's current plans. It's important to note that if Isak does leave, Newcastle will need 2 forwards. That's why, in addition to still monitoring Sesko, the Magpies are actively working on a deal for Yoane Wissa, Brentford's forward who is said to be a strong candidate to replace Callum Wilson, by the way. If you're enjoying this breakdown and want to keep getting detailed updates straight from Newcastle's inner circle, make sure to subscribe to the channel right now. It really helps support our work and gives you access to exclusive content you won't find in mainstream headlines. Every new subscriber strengthens this community and proves how many dedicated fans are following the club's every move. Back to the transfer situation. Craig Hope also reports that if the Sesko deal falls through, 2 other names could come back into the picture. One is Ollie Watkins of Aston Villa, who continues to be highly regarded by Newcastle's technical staff. The English forward has been consistent in the Premier League and could take on a key role up front if Isak does depart. The second is Chelsea's Nicholas Jackson. The Senegalese striker is also being monitored, although he appears to be a bit further down the club's priority list. What's most intriguing is how these options seem to be ranked in a sort of informal hierarchy. From what's being said behind the scenes, Newcastle are working through different scenarios. In the first, where Isak stays, the focus would be on reinforcing the squad with players like Wissa and Muniz. But in the second, more dramatic case, where the Swedish striker leaves Sesko, Watkins and Jackson would become the top names in the club's strategy. In that context, Muniz could play a complementary role, serving as a strong backup in a deeper forward rotation. And for anyone who still doubts the credibility of this story, it's worth remembering. The sources mentioned here are journalist Craig Hope of the Mail and UFC blog, who first reported on the Muniz inquiry back in June. These are respected names with a solid track record and close connections to the club's inner workings. When both point in the same direction, it's safe to say something is definitely going on, even if it's still under wraps. Now let's take a closer look at Rodrigo Muniz. The Brazilian forward had a solid season with Fulham, showing strength, aerial presence, and technical development throughout the Premier League campaign. At 24, he's entering a key period of maturity for a striker, and his style of play could suit a team looking to exploit deep runs and direct finishes. Muniz may not be the most glamorous name on the market, but he's a player who could deliver more than expected, and that's exactly the type of profile Newcastle have been targeting lately. Players who may not be in the spotlight, but who show the potential to grow within a well-structured project. The idea is to build a competitive squad, with varied options for different game situations. And in today's inflated transfer market, that requires clever decisions. That's why this reported inquiry into Muniz shouldn't be underestimated. Speaking of smart decisions, if you're enjoying the insights so far, hit the like button on the video and share it with other Newcastle fans. And of course, if you haven't subscribed yet, now is the time. It's quick, free, and it makes a huge difference in helping us continue producing detailed content, always backed by credible sources from across European football. With the season just around the corner, every update could change everything. Back to the broader picture, Benjamin Sesko's situation will need to be monitored closely over the coming days. He hasn't made a final decision yet, but all signs coming out of Old Trafford suggest that Manchester United are ready to make a formal offer. If that happens, Newcastle will need to move quickly to avoid missing out on other viable targets as well. Watkins, for example, may not stay available for long, especially if other Premier League clubs get involved. As for Nicholas Jackson, while he's not the top option, he could rise in the pecking order depending on how things unfold. The Chelsea striker is young, quick, and offers a different profile compared to other names, which could prove valuable in specific tactical setups. Furthermore, the relationship between the two clubs, despite the on-pitch rivalry, has made way for occasional negotiations in recent years, potentially easing the path for a deal. Meanwhile, Jon Wissa continues to be one of the most likely additions to the squad, regardless of what happens with Ice. The Brentford forward is known for his versatility, being able to play both centrally and out wide. That makes him a valuable option for building a more dynamic front line, especially in a season that's expected to be packed with fixtures and fierce competition. It's crucial to understand that all these moves are part of a broader strategy. This isn't just about reacting to a potential exit. It's about building, reinforcing, and staying competitive in a landscape where every detail counts. The club knows that the upcoming season will be pivotal in solidifying the project launched under the new ownership and financial backing. And that's exactly why we'll keep tracking every move, every whisper behind closed doors, every name that surfaces or resurfaces. The market is fluid, and Newcastle can't afford to waste time. The decisions made in the coming weeks will shape not only this season's squad, but the direction of an ambitious long-term project, aiming squarely at the Premier League's top spots. If you want to keep up with all of this in depth, with responsibility, and always sourced from the most reliable voices in football, now's the perfect time to join our channel. Subscribe now, turn on notifications, and make sure you don't miss any updates. Here, we cover Newcastle the way it deserves to be covered, with seriousness, dedication, and the passion this club inspires in all of us. The season ahead is full of promise, and it feels like the real surprises are only just beginning.